we're now having a look at the 8 main pairs on 1 hour charts. Now they're all using ichimoku, and I've lined up the 17th at the same point on each of the charts so that we can look for strengths and weaknesses. Now on the US Swiss, we see that there was a big drop. Since then it hasn't had any retrace to the 50% level, and now it is just tipping down. I look at that as being US weakness. The reverse of that, the Aussie dollar, it had a jump out, then it's had a good retrace on it all, tested the highs, retrace, tested the highs, retrace, and it's come into not testing the 50% level and breaking out. The Aussie dollar and the Swiss dollar to the US, they're the two favourites at the moment. They're the two that are breaking out. Now, how did the yen handle all of this? It took the drop, but if we look afterwards, it had one red candle here for it. It's then gone right back up and retested the range, and then it's taken the big drop. So we've had a slice taken out of the US dollar on that 17th, but a little bit of timing difference in there. How's it handled it since? It's done a 50% retrace of it all, tested and broke and come back up, and now it's just been sitting on the 50%, that little red line in there. Now you can see how I've got all my other lines tucked in here and with trend lines, and that the chart can get quite full. I've left the US Swiss fairly clean. We can see that this cloud is in a nice one uniform pattern. It's pointing downwards, pink still just below red, price is breaking out. That looks like the trend continuation. Always looking for reversals, but that looks like it's going to continue. The Aussie has come down and tested the cloud. We don't have that on the Swiss, so it's interesting to watch. But we've broken out, but I've come up against a green line, so I know that I can go to the weekly chart, and we've hit a point of interest, and I'm watching. But the nice spread here, the pink's going above the red. Now comparing this to the yen, and we see that the Aussie hasn't broken highs. It's tested them, and it's come up for triple four top. We've got a real line of resistance in here. I haven't added in all the lines from the higher time frames on this one. I've kept this clean as well, and we see that we've got a nice angle up here. We're holding the lows. So the Aussie to the yen is strong because they're the two pairs, and we're up there testing the highs. Now when we look to the euro, we see that it took out that nice piece in the 17th out of the US, so we've got consistency of where all the US pairs have taken a chunk out of the US dollar and got stronger. What I'm exploring is how it's handled that chunk that it's taken out. We see that the euro, it's come up and it's holding that level, and it hasn't quite tested these highs, but you can see how the similarity can continue where it will go up and test it. Now when we have a look at the pound, we see that it took a very good piece out of the US dollar. It's tested it the once, it's done a bit of a retrace, and it's now sitting right back up here, which is 50% of that to that. It's sitting right at the halfway mark, and if we can get above that 50% of the last daily range, I can see that we can go up and test for new highs in there. But compared to the yen, we're completely under the cloud. We took the same chunk out. Everyone took that same chunk out on the 17th, but at a slightly later date, because the yen did it at a slightly few hours later, it took it out of it. So now we're looking, how is it handling that high? Hasn't got anywhere near it. We've got a downward slope coming back down through, and we could put a trend line through that zone, showing that price could come up here and test this flat green line, which is 50% of that whole range, and the red line's just showing the 50% of that range. So we're looking to see whether it can get above the 50%, just like it is on this one. Now if this can follow through, it had the recent high, will this one follow up like what these two are doing? Now that's just giving you an overview of where the different currencies are at. I look at it that the US dollar is the weakest. Every currency is gaining to the US dollar. To the yen, we have the US dollar is getting weaker, but compared to these ones, it's the Aussie dollar still getting stronger compared to the yen, but we're in tight ranges on the euro and the pound. It's staying out of the action. So at the moment, the yen is neutral and stepping aside. The Aussie dollar is getting stronger. So with the yen just holding steady, that strengthening Aussie dollar is taking some extra out of it. And the euro at the moment is having a little bit of a battle. I think that we can see that this is going to break north and follow the trend that we're starting to see on the Swiss. And then the pound, if it can break north, we can see another piece taken out of the US dollar, similar to this sort of move. Hope that's of help and gives you a concept of where I view the currencies and how I do my charting.